Hello and welcome to the news at 7. Tonight, the recent sunny, dry weather is causing a tricky season for Scotland's farmers, with some harvests coming weeks earlier than usual. We'll hear from a farmer and also ask if this unusual weather is likely to continue, also tonight. The family of former First Minister Alex Salmond vow to defend his name and condemn criticism of him in Nicola Sturgeon's memoir. We will, of course, have all of the sport with Lewis. Lewis, what have you got tonight?
Well, Sarah, we'll reflect on a sore Sunday night for golf at Robert McIntyre as he narrowly missed out on a big tournament win, yet could still take plenty of positives from the experience.
And we'll hear from the performers who delivered the best one-liner of the Fringe so far by saying, "I do," in front of a live audience. Hello, I'm Sarah McMillan. Welcome to the news at 7. Now, while many of us have been enjoying the sunshine this year, warm weather, a lack of rainfall and low groundwater levels means that some farmers have been struggling with their crop. And now the National Farmers Union says growing cereal crops in particular has become increasingly difficult and often unpredictable. In a moment, we'll talk about this year's unusual weather and what it could mean for farming in the future. But first, Rachel Bell has been speaking to a barley farmer in Banff in Aberdeenshire about the challenges he's currently facing.
It's certainly been a challenging harvest. The weather pre-harvest this summer, we had very little rain. The little bit of rain that we had encouraged a lot of secondary growth, and the tillers came up well, but the heat wave that we got mid-July ripened the crops probably 2 to 3 weeks earlier than normal, meaning those little seeds did not get time to fill, and that's why we're having issues with meeting the specification set by the maltsters. Unless it is cleaned and screened properly, it will only be used for animal feed, and that is taking a significant drop in the price per tonne that the farmer will get. We're probably going to be losing about £70 per tonne, which on a market that was already very depressed due to lack of demand, the price at that time was not good, and now to lose even more is going to be crippling for any farmer that can't find a home for that grain.
The land that we're standing on is very dry. You haven't had to dry this batch of grain, have you?
No, this is coming in today probably about 15%, which is unusual for up in the northeast here. We're normally cutting grain at 17–18% moisture. So yes, we have had no drying costs this year. But as you can see, the ground we're on is so dry. For establishing our next year's winter crops, we desperately need rain to make that seeds germinate. And this is how far in front we've got to look, as it's next year's crop going in already.
Farming is unpredictable, it's the nature of it, isn't it? Do you think the weather has made it increasingly unpredictable this year?
It has, and I don't know if it's going to get worse. We'll have to make the best use of the tools we've got. This would be a prime example this year, with the barley suffering from drought, for gene editing, plant breeding. We need to get as much resources into that as possible.
That was Rachel Bell speaking to Jack Stevenson on his farm. Well, the warm and sunny weather and the lack of rainfall don't show much sign of stopping soon, but just how unusual has this year been? Well, let's speak to our resident expert now, Chris Blanchett. Chris, what can you tell us then about the weather this year?
Well, it has been extreme, hasn't it? And that is the trend that we've been seeing in recent years. We need to look at the difference between weather and climate. Climate is a warming climate, that's what we know. But of course, the weather is what we see on a day-to-day basis. But just looking over the bigger, broader picture of the last few months for this year, it has been warmer, not only through summer, but also spring and winter as well. In fact, spring was 1.7 degrees warmer than the average. That doesn't sound like an awful lot, but climate scientists say 1.5 degrees is really what we should be aiming at, because once we go over that, it's a tipping point and our climate will begin to irreversibly change, and we'll see those big impacts as well. And, you know, seasonal extremes are normal, but it's the rate at which we are now seeing them and the intensity of those extremes as well. They are becoming far more frequent than they ever used to. Historically, record-breaking events would be sort of once in a decade, and now we're seeing them once every year or every few years.
So then, Chris, is this likely to keep happening?
Well, certainly warmer, wetter winters and hotter, drier summers are what we're expecting to be the most prevalent weather, if you like, that we're going to see in future years. So more intense heat waves, droughts, wildfires, heavier downpours and rising sea levels as well. So there will be consequences not just for agriculture, as we've been hearing, but a broad spectrum of industry as well: health, transport, water, nature and the economy as well. Everything will be affected. Some changes, as we've been seeing, are already happening, but the scale of future impacts, well, that really depends on how quickly, if at all, we are able to cut those emissions.
OK, Chris, thank you very much for that very important context there. Appreciate it. Now, an anti-racism group has hit out at what they call extremists who took part in a protest against asylum seekers being housed in a former hotel in Falkirk. Hundreds of people gathered outside the premises on Saturday, and police closed the road for several hours and arrested 2 men. Organisers of the protest said they want to protect their community and have no affiliation with the far-right protesters who joined the event. Well, our correspondent David Henderson joins us in the studio now. David, how did all of this come about?
Well, Sarah, the UK government has a policy of dealing with asylum seekers by dispersing them around the UK and in hotels and other accommodation. Some of them are in Scotland, one of them is in Falkirk, and to put it bluntly, some locals don't like it. They've been voicing their concerns, and we've also seen this issue become a political hot potato over recent years, and it certainly seemed that way on Saturday with that big protest in Falkirk from campaigners who say they do not want this asylum seekers hotel in town, and a big counter demonstration too from people who were voicing support for refugees.
We're local Falkirk residents. We're not a political organisation. We're parents, grandparents, workers, community members who have had enough of feeling ignored when it comes to the issues of safety, crime, transparency from Falkirk Council and other authorities. It isn't really about left or right politics. It's about local people standing up for the community in relation to many issues.
Extreme terms of abuse at lots of people on that. What I have to make out, that was done by a minority on that protest, not the majority. And I believe there's a minority extreme right have tagged themselves onto it, intervened on Saturday, made it 10 times worse.
And David, we've seen scenes similar to this in England. Is it becoming more common here?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, this is a relatively large protest by recent standards. The number swelled, of course, by the fact that there were 2 sides there. Only 2 arrests, but police are still investigating. Now, we've seen protests in Aberdeen in recent weeks, a similar situation, an asylum seekers hotel targeted by protesters. And it's clear from that this is a deeply divisive issue, even here in Scotland, a long way from the English Channel, which is the real focus of concern. And it's reasonable, I think, therefore, to expect asylum and immigration to be an important issue in Scotland over the next year, ahead of the Scottish elections, with the anti-immigration party Reform doing very well in the polls and campaigning hard on this issue.
OK, David, thank you very much for all of that. Appreciate it. Well, elsewhere tonight, the family of former First Minister Alex Salmond say they're determined to defend his name in legal action against the Scottish Government. Mr Salmond's niece, Christina Hendry, claimed there had been a conspiracy against her uncle, who was cleared at trial of 13 sexual offences in 2020. When he died, aged 69 last year, Salmond had been suing the Scottish Government over a botched investigation into harassment complaints made about him. Well, earlier I spoke to our political correspondent, David Boslockhart.
Well, in Nicola Sturgeon's memoir, there were quite explosive claims about Alex Salmond of varied nature. Nicola Sturgeon questioned some of his behaviour. She suggested he drank too much. She accused him of not even being totally across the details of his own policies that he wanted to implement. Now, Christina Hendry is Alex Salmond's niece. She's got political ambitions of her own. She's hoping to stand for the Alba Party at the next Holyrood election, and she's hitting back on behalf of the Salmond family today. She spoke to Good Morning Scotland this morning and suggested that Nicola Sturgeon is only saying what she's saying now because Alex Salmond is no longer here to defend himself.
If my uncle was here today, these things would not be being said. I believe they're being said because he's not here to defend himself, as he would have done with every fibre of his being. The timing of these things being said, there's been a number of years where they've not been friends, that these things could have been said, and the timing of it now where she's released a book and is looking to publicise that, I think many people have thought that could be the case.
And David, before Alex Salmond died, he was suing the Scottish Government. So what's happening with that now?
Well, Alex Salmond had already previously successfully sued the Scottish Government over its mishandling of harassment complaints against them. Their probe was ruled to be tainted with apparent bias. This was separate from the criminal trial where Alex Salmond was acquitted of all charges, including attempted rape, but his lawyer admitted in court that his client could have been a better man. When Alex Salmond died last year, he was in another process of suing the Scottish Government for misfeasance. That's the wrongful exercise of lawful authority. He was seeking a reported £3 million in damages. There were questions when he died about what exactly would happen with that. We now know that his widow, Moira, is expected to take up that claim. His niece, Christina Hendry, this morning saying, "We will continue to do anything we need to defend his name." So Alex Salmond might not be here anymore, but certainly his political legacy still very much being felt in Scotland.
OK, David, thank you very much for all of that. OK, it's time to get a roundup of the stories making the BBC News app here in Scotland today. Campaign Group for Women Scotland have lodged a legal action against the Scottish Government, claiming rules on transgender pupils in schools and people in custody are in breach of a recent Supreme Court judgment. Elsewhere, thieves made off with an ATM after crashing a pickup truck into a village shop in Renfrewshire. The gang fled the scene on Bridge of Weir's Main Street in a grey Audi S3. An 81-year-old man has died following a crash between his electric bike and a van on the A815 in Argyll and Bute. He died at the scene. And a 140-year-old metal footbridge over the River Ness in Inverness has been closed after the discovery of structural damage. It came during a routine inspection earlier this month. Well, for more on all of these stories, you can scan that QR code, which you can see on the screen there for you now, and that takes you to the BBC Scotland News app. Now, it may only have a population of 50, but residents on Fair Isle, like all of us, still need to be looked after and have their healthcare needs met. The island is currently advertising for a nurse to work and live in the community. They'd be the only medical professional there. Eileen Thompson lives on Fair Isle and told me how this job differs from most and what island life can offer.
There's only 50 of us here in Fair Isle, and that usually doubles for most of the summer season with visitors. So it means that there are quieter days, and traditionally the nurse here has often helped with a bit of social care, especially we've got quite a lot of older residents here and a few little ones too, and it can be really vital, and it's a wonderful a bonus for the nurse, but also for us in the community to have a nurse who's willing to engage with the community, to engage with our elderly members of the community and take that step further out of the traditional sort of practice nurse role.
And Eileen, as you're saying, island life, it's unique. So what kind of person is best suited to this role, do you think?
Well, I think you need to be quite resilient. You need to be, we always say people need to be self-sufficient here in Fair Isle, but also with the balance of being really community-minded. We're incredibly lucky to have a really strong community here, and we work hard at it, and we really welcome people who want to join in, who want to muck in, who want to help out with other things as well while they're here. But also we'll welcome them and we'll want to share our great community with them. Fair Isle is obviously really famous for bird life and also for knitwear, and we love welcoming people who've got those interests, who can appreciate this beautiful island, because there will be quieter times when you'll have more time on your hands to get out and about and walk and enjoy the view, enjoy the sea, enjoy the nature around us.
And Eileen, depopulation has been a problem for many of Scotland's islands and rural communities. Do you think it will be difficult to attract someone or to keep them in the role?
I think it's hard to say, really. I think we hear a lot that remote islands are struggling to find people and struggling to find nurses to care for them. Again, I think Fair Isle is very lucky that we do have quite a name, which helps to attract people to come here, but we do have a really special place. So my hope is that we'll find the right person who really will want to work in this community, who will enjoy the chance to be the sole medical professional looking after the community, and will relish that.
Okay, Eileen, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for chatting to us tonight. We'd very much appreciate it.
Thanks.
Now, the Health Secretary has met with campaigners on Skye who say urgent care at Portree Community Hospital is falling short of expectations. NHS Highland and the Scottish Government were forced to address the issue last year after a woman died and another woman suffered a severe allergic reaction in the town. Neil Gray says recruitment and retention of staff are the main challenges.
There is also some variance because of the availability of our advanced nurse practitioners and where they can be, and because of recruitment and retention issues that I referred to, that is where the challenge currently lies in terms of the consistency of services.
Well, still to come, we'll have a full weather forecast for you, but first it's all of the sport with Lewis.
Thank you, Sarah, and I'm still trying to recover from yesterday. Yes, good evening. It was a Sunday night of mixed feelings for Scottish golfer Robert McIntyre. Disappointment at being pipped to first place at the PGA Tour's BMW Championship by world number one. McIntyre even said he felt like smashing up his own clubs. But on the other hand, there were plenty of positive outcomes for the 29-year-old as well. Earlier I caught up with Martin Dempster, who's chief golf writer at The Scotsman, to reflect on it all.
He certainly was disappointed at the end, as any player would be, losing a four-shot lead. However, we have to bear in mind that the player who beat him is Scotty Scheffler, the game's dominant force. He's won 18 times in 3.5 years. Bob would have known that Scotty would be hanging on to his coattails, putting pressure on him. Bob didn't help himself by getting off to a bad start in the final round. However, second place against the world number one and a guy like Scotty Scheffler is by no means a disgrace.
Absolutely not. He's probably the one player in golf you wouldn't want on your coattails, isn't he, Scotty Scheffler? But we also have to mention, Martin, the huge positives that come with it. I know that McIntyre was very disappointed, talking about wanting to smash up his clubs, as you'd probably feel after a round like that. But he's got so many things that are hugely positive from that weekend he's just had.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just over $2 million in prize money. That takes his season's earnings on the PGA Tour to close to $8 million, which is a staggering sum of money. The wee boy through Oban certainly coining it in, and deservedly so. Also, he's in the world's top 10 for the first time in his career. He's climbed up to 8th. That's a phenomenal achievement. And he's secured an automatic spot in the Ryder Cup. He'll finish second behind Rory McIlroy in the points table. And that really shows you the level of golf that Bob McIntyre's playing at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a quite remarkable year for him so far, hasn't it? And I guess for Scottish golf as a whole, Martin, it's just so good to see someone at this level of the game. It's been a long time since we've had a Scot in that top 10 world rankings, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, Monty was there for a long time, and Paul Laurie, Sandy Lyle, Sam Turns, players like that. Stevie Gallagher's had good times as well. But right now, Bob McIntyre, as I say, top 10 in the world, playing the golf of his life against the top players. 2 top 10 finishes in the majors this year. It's fantastic for Scottish golf, and here's hoping lots of Scottish youngsters are being inspired by Bob McIntyre at the moment.
Moving to football now, and Rangers head coach Russell Martin says he hopes new signing Jayden Migoma will be registered and ready to face Club Bruges in the first leg of the Champions League playoff tie at Ibrox tomorrow. The 19-year-old left-back joined on a season-long loan from Brentford and is an England youth international. Martin also spoke at his pre-match press conference today about how he wants all of his team to embrace the experience of being a Rangers player.
I spoke to the players this week about they have to play with a bit more joy here at Ibrox, because it can be so special and so brilliant, and there's still a bit of tension at times and all that stuff. So our job is to give them enough clarity and consistency that they can actually enjoy playing for this football club and enjoy moments like that, because it should be one of the best opportunities and times of your career. Of course, it can be tough at times and all that stuff, but seize the opportunity that you have whilst you're here.
He is a manager who has a certain style of play, and it's very clear how he wants to play. A lot of dominant football, attracting football. And this is the way how he wants to play also tomorrow.
Remember, there's lots more to see and read on the BBC Sports Scotland website, including confirmation of Ben Doak's move to Bournemouth from Liverpool for a fee of up to £25 million. And Sarah, I was reading that it could be a record-breaking transfer window in England. So Ben Doak contributing to that. Come on, the Scots.
Come on, the Scots, Lewis. Always lovely stuff. Thank you.
Cheers, Sarah.
Now, more than 1,200 artworks and artefacts are still missing from Aberdeen City Council's collection almost 4 years after the start of an investigation into what happened to them. The missing items, including a Neolithic stone axe and ancient Chinese ornaments, are thought to be worth more than £160,000. Councillor Martin Greig is culture spokesperson for Aberdeen City Council, and he says he's unsure if they'll be able to locate all of the items.
Aberdeen City Council has been very responsible in maintaining a rigorous system for recording, for indexing the artefacts which it holds. So I think we've got a method to be proud of. We know all that we have in the collection. We have transparency. Everything is available to see online. So we have very thorough record keeping, which helps us to know what's missing, what's disappeared, and so forth. And I know that other museums and art galleries do not have such a strong system in place to know what they're holding and what has gone missing.
And is it rigorous though, Martin, if there's still 1,200 items missing?
Well, an item can be missing because it is in the wrong box or because it is in a different place from where it was last time that it was recorded. It may not be outside of the building. It's just that it's subject to further scrutiny to make sure that it can be identified.
Martin, what kind of artwork are we talking about here? What is missing?
There's a wide range of different items, such as a Neolithic axe. There are some drawings and so forth. They're not items of particular economic value, but of historic value. So I'm glad that we don't have items missing of hundreds and indeed millions of pounds as other museums have missing.
But Martin, has anyone been held accountable for what has happened at your museum?
It's not about seeking blame. It's trying to make sure that we are holding what has been collected and making sure that it's available to view as much as possible.
That was Martin Greig speaking to me earlier. Now, what's the most anxiety-inducing experience that you can imagine? Maybe it's performing on the stage, or perhaps it's getting married in front of hundreds of people. Well, what about both? That's what Linus Karp and Joseph Martin, now Linus and Joseph Younggreen, went through when they got legally married live on stage at the Fringe Festival. They've been performing there as part of their show, The Fit Prince, and we spoke to the newlyweds earlier.
It's sort of a queer rom-com leaning into the Netflix and Hallmark holiday films. It has musical numbers, puppetry, loads of multimedia appearances, and a lot of audience participation.
On Saturday, we did something a little unusual. It was a Fringe first, as far as we know.
We got legally married on stage in front of a paying audience.
So that took place in the Pleasance Grand. We've been a real life couple for 11 years. We thought Edinburgh's a very special place for us, so why not do it there? And
then sort of just snowballed into this, which became like this wonderful, ridiculous time with guest performers and us tying the knot in front of like a few hundred audience members.
So we are now legally husband and husband. It's funny. I expected to be a bit more nervous than I was. There was a moment where we left the stage just before the audience were let in, and we went to be dressed by our amazing designer Cosimo, and then I felt the nerves kick in a little bit.
Thank you for making me so happy. Thank you for always looking after me, for making me laugh when I'm sad, making me feel loved when I'm lost, and most importantly, especially for those who know me, for making me food when I'm hungry.
As soon as you heard it, the audience, congregation, like cheer and scream as soon as the ceremony started. You were like, okay, this is fine. We're home. This is so right. We've been together for 11 years, and it was amazing, and it was so nice to see, like, you know, all the reactions, and people were so lovely and supportive and brought us gifts and donated to charities in our names and all those things, which is so nice. But like,
we still went home to the student accommodation we're staying in this month and slept in a not quite big enough double bed. You know, we went and got a crepe on the way home as a special treat. Nothing really changes.
Yeah.
You know, the fun never stops.
And a huge congratulations to both of them. OK, time for the weather forecast now. And Christopher Blanchard is back in the studio. He can't stay away.
I've got some lovely pictures to show you.
Yes,
That's
you do.
why. Come with me. Lots of sunshine around today. Beautiful picture here from Guruk. Fancy dip in the pool there on a day like today. It has been cloudy around the east coast. You can see Union Terrace Gardens there, rather grey skies overhead, but sunshine for many. Tomorrow, a bit less sunshine and a bit more cloud. Let me explain what's going on. We do have high pressure with us, and that means over the next few days it's going to be largely dry and settled. But the wind direction is coming in from the north, so it will be cool, and it will feed in a lot of cloud because the wind travels over the sea, picks up moisture, and brings us cloud. And it will be a cloudier start to the day tomorrow compared with this morning. Best of the sunshine likely around the west coast through parts of Argyll in towards the West Highlands and the islands. Elsewhere, though, cloudy. Again, the odd spot of drizzle from the thickest cloud, but mostly dry. Some sunshine there towards the northwest coast. Notice the wind arrows coming in from the northeast, just feeding in something a little bit cooler. Should brighten up though in Shetland compared with today. And then elsewhere as we head through to the afternoon, that cloud thinning and breaking, a bit more sunshine developing. Nothing like the warmth that we saw today, but still a pleasant 21 in the best of the sunshine. Wednesday, it's a similar picture, high pressure to the north and that cool northerly wind. Perhaps a bit more in the way of sunshine around on Wednesday, still dry and still a north wind, giving a cool feel around some northern and eastern coast, low teens at times, further inland, mid to high teens, and not too bad at all if you're out of the breeze and get some sunshine. And it's a similar sort of picture as we head through towards Thursday with a lot of dry weather, some clouds, some sunshine, temperatures lower than what we've seen of late, and it will be cool by night as well. That high pressure really doesn't want to go anywhere at all. It's sticking with us through Saturday and Sunday, like a rock in a stream, keeping weather fronts and rain at bay, keeping us dry, keeping us settled. And there'll be some sunshine around. The wind's still with us, but more so across the north and the east coast. So inland, not quite as breezy, not quite as cloudy. And on Sunday, we're right underneath that area of high pressure. So the sunshine perhaps a little more prevalent. It's still strong August sunshine. That'll lift temperatures up to around 20 or 21. But generally, it's cooler than what we've seen of late. However, you can see on the icons there, it's dry. A lot of cloud and some sunshine at times too. That's the forecast for now.
Lovely stuff, Christopher. Thank you very much. And that's all from us here tonight. Laura McKeever will be here tomorrow. Enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.